Well, g'day everyone, how's it going? Coming at you from the studio today, and in this video I just want to do a bit of a Q&A, answer some questions that I've had come in, and just give you some updates on where the channel is at. If you don't know me already, my name's Michael and I'm a filmmaker and producer from Melbourne, and I've built my company up over the last 2 to 3 years and posted content on this channel about my journey. So yeah, let's just kick off by saying that I've actually bought my business back about 2 years ago. I put out a video about partnering up with Madeline, and yeah, basically she reached out to me maybe 3 or 4 months ago and just said that she wanted to finish up with the company. She wanted to take a different direction with where she was at. And so we finished her up in April of this year. And then I proceeded to buy her out of the company. So yeah, I'm the sole proprietor again and the founder and owner of my own company, Pendula, which produces videos for clients all across Australia. And it was a challenging time because we went through a few lockdowns with COVID, and there were some challenges with different clients and scheduling and those sort of things. And just winning work became more challenging and a little bit harder to convert work. So there were some challenges we were working through as a business, and Madeline just decided that it wasn't going to be beneficial for her to stay on and continue being a director of the company. So yeah, it's all back in this little office here in Melbourne, and we're operating full steam ahead still. I'm still running the business, and I was running a lot of the creative and doing a lot of the management on the production side and management of the business as well. And so nothing much has changed there, but just to keep you guys updated on that. And yeah, it's been a really good journey actually for me to own the business back again. And I feel really positive about where we're heading as well as a company. So that's kind of that section. That's been the last 2 or 3 months, which is probably one of the reasons you haven't seen me post as much on this channel, just because going through that process and, you know, buying the business back and all the things that go along with that was basically a lot of effort, put a lot of effort into that, getting all the legal things in place to, you know, properly do it and properly purchase her share. And yeah, so that's just been something that I've been focused on. One other question I got was, are you still using Canon EOS R or the 5D Mark IV? The answer is yes, I am still using the Canon EOS R, but my 5D Mark IV no longer is part of my kit. I sold that a little while ago when I upgraded to the EOS R. So now my kit consists of the EOS R and the Canon R5, and then I use a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera for bigger shoots and where I need more dynamic range, or when I'm doing corporate stuff. Maybe I'm doing a home walkthrough where I want to shoot in the daytime and capture more cleaner dynamic range and just a raw image. But the R5 as well I've used on really high-end shoots now as well. So I'm switching out between the BMP CC6K, not the Pro version, just the original version, and the R5. And they're my two main go-to cameras. What lights are you using now? I'm actually using the Aputure 300D Mark II, and I have the Aputure 200D, and I actually changed the fan in it, would you believe, for a quieter fan. So both of those are working much better for me now. And I just, with Aputure 200D is a great budget version from Aputure in the Amaran series, but for me it was too noisy. And what you're hearing now, maybe you can hear, I might noise reduce this a little bit, but there's a little bit of a noise here because I'm still using a Godox SL or Godox SL60 in this environment here. So there's still a bit of fan noise, and I just thought if I'm going to upgrade from the Godox SL60, which was my main light, then I wanted something that was going to be super quiet and not give any noise whatsoever. So this light here gives off too much noise. I didn't want to modify this light, and I got the Aputure 200D on a bit of a whim, hoping that they would do a firmware upgrade. They did do the firmware upgrade, but it didn't sort out the issues fully that I had with the noise of the light. So I'm going to do a follow-up video on showing you what that sounds like and how the light actually works with the new fan and how quiet it is compared to when I actually got the light before I'd done that modification. So I'll link below actually to the video where I followed step by step, and it's like a drone technical guy. Anyway, I'll link below to that. Have a look at that if you want to get the 200D. And I think for $20 it cost me to put that fan in. So it was so cheap and so worthwhile. So it was cool. another question I had recently was, do your LUTs work with CLOG 3? And this came about because, as we know, the R6 has just been had a firmware update, and they now have the access of CLOG 3 on the R6, which is pretty awesome that Canon has done that for all you R6 owners out there. And the answer to that is no. So they will work, they will work, but it's actually not the right transform going from a CLOG 1 to CLOG 3 and just using a CLOG 1 LUT, because the LUT actually won't produce the highlights and the shadows in the right way, and you need to really tweak exposure, saturation, and contrast. So, you may as well start from a baseline yourself and get that right from the outset. But my LUTs, I am developing more LUTs to go with CLOG 3. But as I said in the beginning, with the company buying out my partner and everything like that, has basically been a little bit of a time-consuming thing. So I haven't actually got around to developing the CLOG 3 LUTs yet, but I plan to do that, and I'll have them available on my website, where you can already get, if you're predominantly using CLOG 1, on the R5, the Canon 5D Mark IV, the EOS R, those cameras are R6 as well, then my LUTs are available at my website, michaeldrowley.com. So check it out if you need some LUTs. And they're not expensive, and they're transform LUTs, technical LUTs. They're not creative as such, but they will get you in the ballpark of a really nice Rec 709 image. And I think they beat out the Canon provided LUTs, because I think they do produce a better image. Another question I had was on a short that I did. So I did my first YouTube short, which got like 450 views within like the first 2 days, I think. And it was really going well on the algorithm, everything like that. But it's almost like the YouTube algorithm just took it, put it out there for 2 days, and then just dropped it like a hot potato. So it's not really getting much views at all now. And so there was a question on that about Davinci Resolve and how do you optimize Davinci Resolve for an older computer. And the answer I had was kind of, well, you probably need to make proxies. And how do you do that in Resolve? Well, it's called optimized media. So if you can create optimized media in Davinci Resolve, it will obviously process it a lot better. And that is if you're using an R5 or a 4K image from sort of any camera. If you've got an old computer, it's just not going to process it, especially if it's a H.265 codec, like a 10-bit codec, or even a H.264 codec in 4K won't process that well on an older laptop or an older computer system. And I would say if you're on an older computer, make a 1920 by 1080 ProRes on Apple, or like a H.264 MP4 code, MP4 video image if you're on a non-Mac computer. So that means you're going to have more space available as well than what you've shot to create those proxies. But then I think it will run a lot smoother with optimized media. There is a couple of other things you can do, and I'm going to bring a video out on that as well too. But basically you can choose to go half resolution, and also even if you're exporting in a 4K timeline, you can actually go into the project settings and make your display timeline, or what you're watching back, 1920 by 1080, and it will scale it all for 4K like automatically. So it's almost as if you're watching a 4K timeline down sampled to 1920 by 1080, and that has worked for me on bigger stuff where I've got the R5 and the footage is really choppy and it's not working that well. So I actually go and create a timeline of 1920 by 1080. Even if the footage is 4K or 8K, I then apply it into that timeline, and it can play back like semi-smooth. So that's something you can do to stop that. Definitely works really well with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera and the 6K footage out of the Pocket Cinema camera. So yeah, that's really good. How have you been through the pandemic? Yeah, we've been okay. Like, the business has continued to produce really well. We actually had our biggest quarter last quarter with the most work we've ever had. And so in a way, it's gone really well. But I feel like what's happened now is that there's a bit of a lag of business, and businesses are kind of only finding out now where they're at. And so some of our bigger clients have really dropped off in the production of their videos, and we've felt that, we've noticed that decline the last 2 or 3 months, even though we've had a big backlog that we've got through now, and we had a big quarter last quarter. At the beginning of the year, we did really well. now it seems like there's a bit of a flow-on effect of COVID. We've had some more lockdowns in Melbourne. We're really kind of slow at getting back economically, and I think that's starting to really impact businesses and clients who might have had money and were really pushing through COVID because of online sales and things like that. We're finding now that as everyone transitions kind of back to a little bit of normalcy, then we're not getting as much inquiries and things are just slowed down. So that's where we're at the moment, and we're hoping that it will just kind of pick up. Most of the world is recovering from it, and we just don't want to lag behind here in Australia. But we've gone really well through it and managed to maintain the business, and my family's really healthy, really happy. Everyone's doing really great, but just in terms of what that flow-on effect is going to be now, we're just not sure. And so we're just waiting it out, I suppose, to see what happens with that. I have a few jobs planned and coming up to the Gold Coast, back to where I began the business and started this channel. And so I'll be traveling up there in the next couple of weeks to get that done. But in terms of what is next from there, we've got a few in the quote stage, but nothing really in concrete on paper yet. So, and nothing improved yet. So yeah, we'll just see what happens. It usually is a bit of a lull at this time of year, so we're not super worried about that, but we'll just wait and see how things pick up economically from here. So how do I get more video clients? This is one I get asked quite often, and I think the biggest thing that you need to do if you're starting out, or even if you're established, is just to produce really high quality and high value work. And what does that mean? Well, it means we shoot it in a really nice codec. We don't cut corners with the way that we produce our media and the quality of what we produce. We go the extra mile for the client as well. So we do over and above what the expectation is for the video project or that specific thing that we're doing for the client. And that helps you to get more value in the work that you produce, and it sets up for what's next. And that's a good way to get referred to people as well. We've grown our business that way, in that we get a lot of referrals that, hey, you should use this company, the flow was really good, how they operated was great, and you know, they were always consistent with the communication. So just being consistent and producing a good product and a good level of service is probably my number one tip for just getting more business. And marketing is really important, but I would say, and the highest value that you can bring to your own business is to produce really quality work every single time and become known for that. Become known for producing a great product for your clients, producing great video, having it sound good, having it look good. And that would be no matter what camera you're using, no matter what system you're starting out with, or you know, the value in those jobs that you're doing in the beginning. Maybe it's only $300 or $400 real estate jobs, but if you produce those as if you were getting paid a lot more money and to a very high standard, you create the seed work for the next big thing to come. So then you create the seed for the next job to come, and that next job might see that video and believe and perceive that the value of that video is a lot more than what you're currently being paid to produce it. So the only way to do that is to create high value pieces of content that then you can pitch to other people, you can take to other people, or people can refer you from that because you know they've enjoyed working with you and they like your work. So that would be my advice there. Well, that is all I have in the questions for this video, and I've rambled on long enough, but I just want to come and check in. And these videos don't really get that many views on my channel, but I know some of you, and thanks for those who've been reaching out the last few months as well, just saying g'day and encouraging me to just keep on this journey. Some of you are invested in knowing me and seeing me come on your feed from time to time. So I thought I'd just give you a catch up on where things are at. And yeah, everything is going good, but I am missing doing the consistent uploads on this channel. And that's the next push for now that I have my business back and fully under my care. I'm really looking forward to doing one upload every week and getting back into the flow of YouTube and trying to put the last year or so behind me in terms of building the business, you know, and it built really strong, but just putting a lot of effort in there and neglecting you guys a little bit, neglecting this channel a little bit. And I just got to admit to that failure and try and pick it up and yeah, move on, because this is really what I want to do. I want to be here with you guys. I want to be developing more content and putting out great stuff that's going to help you up your game in the creative, whatever creativity you apply yourself with, whatever you do with cameras and stuff like that. I really want to help and just assist and be there on the journey with you. So thank you so much for watching, and remember, never stop creating. All right, we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.